For almost a year, this snake plant looked exactly the same. The leaves stayed green. They stayed upright. Nothing looked seriously wrong. But every time I checked it, there was still the same number of leaves. No new shoot. No new pup. Just a plant that seemed perfectly happy to sit there and do absolutely nothing. Then I repotted it. And instead of reaching for another bottle of fertilizer, I made one small change to the growing medium. I added a single handful of something that normally ends up as a leftover from one of the most common foods on Earth. A few weeks later, the plant started behaving differently. But here's the part that surprised me. The material wasn't really there to feed the plant. In fact, if you think of this as another homemade fertilizer trick, you're looking at it the wrong way. Because the real change was happening somewhere you couldn't see. The problem wasn't obvious. Snake plants have a reputation for being almost impossible to kill. And that's true to a point. They can tolerate periods of drought. They can survive lower light than many houseplants. And they don't need constant attention. But there's a big difference between a plant that can survive and a plant that's actively growing. A snake plant can remain alive for months while producing almost nothing new. And when that happens, most people immediately blame one thing: fertilizer. They assume the plant must be hungry, so they add more plant food. But before you feed a stagnant snake plant, there's something much more basic to investigate. What's happening inside the pot? Take your finger and press into the growing medium. Does it feel loose and open? Or has it gradually collapsed into a dense, compact mass? Now think about what happens every time you water. The roots aren't sitting in empty soil. They're surrounded by thousands of tiny spaces between the particles of the growing medium. Some of those spaces hold water. Others hold air. And roots need both. A good container medium has to balance water availability with air-filled pore space. Iowa State Extension explains that container media need to remain porous enough to avoid pore aeration, and that compacting the medium can reduce those air-filled spaces. So imagine what happens when an old potting mix gradually settles. The larger spaces can disappear. Water may behave differently. The root zone can become less open. And suddenly, the plant isn't necessarily starving for fertilizer. It may simply be growing in a medium that isn't giving its roots the physical environment they need. That's when I started looking at a material I'd normally never think of as a houseplant ingredient. The unlikely ingredient: rice hulls. The lightweight outer covering removed during rice processing. They're not a conventional fertilizer. They aren't there to supply your snake plant with some magical dose of nutrients. Their interesting role is physical. Rice hulls can be incorporated into growing media to create additional air-filled spaces and improve aeration and drainage. Extension and horticultural sources describe them as a growing media component used for this purpose. And that's what makes this different from most viral kitchen ingredient plant hacks. You're not trying to make the plant grow by giving it something to eat. You're trying to give the roots a better place to function. Think about the difference. A fertilizer changes what nutrients are available. A growing medium amendment can change the physical environment surrounding the roots. And for a plant sitting in old, compacted media, that distinction matters. But there's a catch. Before you grab any rice hulls and dump them into your snake plant's pot, there's something important to understand. Not all rice hulls are equally appropriate for long-term container growing. Extension guidance notes that rice hulls can be useful for aeration, but also points out that some types break down relatively quickly and may be less suitable as a long-term component for houseplants. Parboiled rice hulls are a more established horticultural material, and research has found them useful as an alternative to perlite in certain container substrates. So if you're trying this, don't treat ordinary kitchen waste as though it were automatically ready to go into your pot. Look for clean horticultural rice hulls, preferably a product intended for growing media. And now we get to the part that actually matters: how I would use them. I wouldn't take a healthy, established snake plant and simply scatter a handful of hulls across the surface. That doesn't address the underlying structure of the entire root zone. Instead, this makes the most sense when you're repotting or replacing an old, compacted mix. First, gently remove the snake plant from its container. Don't pull it upward by the leaves. Turn the pot sideways and ease the root ball out. Now look at the old medium. If it's still loose, drains appropriately, and the roots look healthy, There may be no reason to disturb the plant simply to add rice hulls. But if the medium has collapsed into a dense mass, that's a different story. Remove the old mix that comes away easily. Don't aggressively tear through healthy roots just to get every last particle off. Then prepare fresh, well-draining potting mix appropriate for a snake plant. This is where the rice hulls come in. Add a modest amount of horticultural rice hulls and distribute them evenly through the mix. Don't create a layer of hulls at the bottom. Don't make a separate pocket around the roots. And don't turn the entire pot into rice hulls. The goal is a balanced growing medium, not the maximum possible amount of one ingredient. Once everything is mixed, place the snake plant back into the pot at approximately its original depth. Make sure the container has drainage holes. And then comes something that sounds almost too simple. Don't start watering it constantly. A better draining mix doesn't mean your snake plant suddenly wants more water. Your watering frequency still needs to match how quickly the medium dries and the plant's growing conditions. And here's the mistake that can ruin the whole idea. People hear, rice hulls improve aeration. Then they think, more aeration must be better. So they add more, and more, and more. That's not how growing media work. The entire mix has to maintain a useful balance between air, water, root support, and nutrient availability. Rice hulls are a component, not a complete potting mix. And there's another reason not to go overboard. Because rice hulls are organic material, they can gradually break down. Iowa State Extension specifically cautions that their relatively short lifespan can make them less suitable as the main aeration component for long-term houseplants. So this isn't add one handful every month. It's use the right material in a properly designed mix when the root environment actually needs improvement. That difference is what separates a useful plant care technique from a random internet hack. So, what happens afterward? This is where I want to slow things down. Don't repot your snake plant today and start checking for a new leaf tomorrow. That's not a realistic expectation. Snake plants are not fast-growing plants, and a change in growing medium doesn't force a new leaf to appear overnight. The first improvement may happen completely underground. The roots may simply have a more favorable balance of air and water around them. Then, if the plant also has adequate light, appropriate watering, and sufficient nutrients, you may eventually see active growth resume. Depending on the season and the condition of the plant, that can take weeks or months. And that's okay, because there's actually a second way to judge whether your soil improvement was useful. Don't only watch the leaves. Watch the medium. After watering, pay attention to how the mix behaves. Does water move through it more evenly? Does the surface remain loose rather than becoming sealed and compacted? Does the medium maintain its structure instead of collapsing around the root ball? Those clues tell you more about the root environment than staring at the plant every morning waiting for a new leaf. And eventually, when the plant is repotted again, the roots themselves become your best evidence. That's when you can actually inspect what happened underneath the surface. The real lesson. So, did that handful of rice hulls magically make my snake plant explode with growth? No. And that's actually what makes the story more interesting. The rice hulls weren't a magic fertilizer. They were one small part of changing the environment around the roots. And if your snake plant has been sitting in the same pot for months or years, barely changing, the question may not always be, what fertilizer am I missing? Sometimes the better question is, what kind of environment are my roots living in? Because the roots can't choose the soil they're planted in. They have to work with whatever we give them. If that environment is compacted, poorly aerated, or simply no longer appropriate for the plant, adding more fertilizer may not solve the real problem. But if you're already repotting and your old mix needs better physical structure, a properly selected rice hull product can be one useful component of the new medium. And that tiny handful suddenly makes a lot more sense. It isn't feeding the snake plant. It's helping build the place where the roots have to live. So the next time your snake plant seems frozen in time, don't just look at the leaves. Look at the pot. Look at the light. Look at the watering pattern. And most importantly, look at what's happening underneath. Because sometimes the first sign of new growth isn't a new leaf at all. It's a healthier root environment preparing the plant for what comes next. If you enjoy practical plant care videos that explain what to do and why it works, subscribe for more. And the next time you see an ordinary material that looks like waste, remember, you may be looking at something that has a completely different purpose in the garden.